Aloha, everybody. This is Dave Wallace coming to you from Waihua, Hawaii, and it's Talk Story time. It's Monday. It's Monday, the 20th of September, 2021. And so it's really interesting that last time I was sharing stories with you was I was talking about finding missing people or missing objects. And I mean, it seems like as soon as you start talking about something, something major happens. Right now, there's a search going on up in on the windward side, Waimanalo area, extending into parts of Kailua, and they're looking for a 6-year-old little girl who is 6 years old and she went missing from her home. And although I am really tempted in looking, searching for this girl, using my abilities, at the same time, I was not given permission. Okay, so I was not given permission to look, and therefore, it would be a violation of my ethics stuff to probe. That would just be niele. Okay. So there are other people that are using their abilities to search for this little girl, and I hope they find her. And so I don't want to mention anything about my own personal feelings because again, those it's just being ne'ele. Okay, and so I'm praying for the family members and I'm praying for this little girl at this time. Continuing to talk about missing people, there's these other methods that I've been able to use over the years to identify people. And my favorite, one of my favorite games I used to play was gathering keys or personal objects and putting them in a box and just mixing around and reaching inside the box and grabbing something without looking at it and keeping it still in the box, but my hand is covered in a box and I'm looking around to try and match who this particular thing, what this particular item, um, is attracted to. And when I touch it and close my eyes, a lot of times I can see the person using the keys for whatever. It can be a car keys, it can be a house key, it can be a locker key, a desk key, and those things I was able to accurately point towards the person or near the person that keys or personal objects belong to. In fact, the more the person uses the object, the more mana is inside the object, and the more important this particular item is, and especially when the person is touching it a lot and handling it a lot, it's easy. If you get a personal item that a person rarely touches or hardly uses, then it's a little bit more difficult. Okay, so those are some of the things that we can use to help locate individuals. And individuals, again, I don't mind doing missing people cases and searching for them if I'm given permission, and especially if this person is having a difficult time locking into where the person may be, and that's a good sign. Okay, I don't like it when I focus on a person and boom, my energy just goes into one location. That's not good. Okay. Um, the last missing person that I got involved in, helping the family find, um, was a person up in Pupukia. He had um, he had left his home and went hiking in Pupukia Mountains, and apparently he either had dementia or Alzheimer's, and he got lost. And he wasn't supposed to go and hike by himself, but he ended up on a trail. And a lot of people that were hiking in that area was able to, they saw him, they remember seeing him. And so a few days into the search, actually, um, it's not like 4 or 5 days into the search, I went up there and, with my wife, and I contacted the people, and they asked if I could go up there and help. And my impressions at the time was that this person had slid down, was walking on a trail and slid down and was stuck somewhere right at a point. And there's a sharp turn in the road, and there's a steep drop off and stuff. And that's what I described. Well, for remote viewers that see stuff like that, you're describing a lot of areas on the trail. So I didn't have a solid map to look at where I could actually do my directional lob or lines of bearings on a map, so I couldn't locate that. And so, unfortunately, they did find this man, and he was off the trail and looked like he had slid down and injured himself. And they found, by the time they found him, he was deceased. Okay, and when I was up there, I sensed that he was still moving. I'm not too sure if he passed away right where he slid down, but I did sense he was still moving. He was still probably still alive. Okay, so that was one of the cases that I was involved in. Another really sad case that I was involved in, that I helped the family, was a young man who went hiking up at Mauna Valley, and they wanted to go to Stairway to Heaven. And there's a way that you can get to the Stairway of Heaven from Mauna Valley on near Tripoli Hospital, and you can access it by walking up. But if you don't know um, how to get there, and you haven't been there, or you don't have someone that's been there, been to there and used the trail, you can get lost. And when the family asked me to help them, uh, I focused on him to try and figure out what happened. And I picture him at the base of a mountain, and it looks like he was taking. They know that he was taking pictures because he was sending pictures back to on a phone, and he was taking pictures while he was going up. And um, what I saw him as he kind of like stepped over to look at the windward side, and he was right on the windward side. In fact, where he was, he could see down into the Valley of the Temples area. Okay, that's how high he was up. And when he slipped, he misstepped and he slid down, and it was a far drop. And the area that I pointed out when I was able to locate, it's filled with what the rescuers call pocket canyons. These are small little sheer drops, and if you take a look at the Ko'olau Mountains, you can see these ridges all down, and each one of those are considered pocket canyons, where just sheer drops right down, and it's really, really difficult to access. Okay, and the way my my experiences with this one person, um, by the time I came and became involved and stuff, I could smell decomposition. So the person had been dead for a while. And so, unfortunately, from the description I gave in the search and rescue people, um, they were saying it's right around the area that they anticipated. They was really close to the area, and they had suspicions that that's where the remains of this man was. Okay, so um, it's not a pleasant thing dealing with, you know, dead bodies. Okay, it's not a very pleasant thing at all, and so these things happen. Okay, and these are some of the things that I was able to help with. And not every not every person that that disappears end up dead. Some of them, when there was a case on Maui where this lady was missing, and all along the time and stuff, people were calling out for help, and I had friends on Maui that contacted me and asked me if I could help with this one case. And as soon as I got the person's name and I started focusing, there was this kind of like red flag saying, Dave, don't worry about this lady. This lady's fine. And so it's really interesting that several days passed and she ended up fine. And people were very suspicious of whether she disappeared or not. Okay. And so that was one interesting case. And again, it was the fact that this feeling like she was okay, don't worry, and difficulty in locking down on where she was. I knew she was alive, and I knew she was well. Okay, and there's no panic. Normally, when a person is struggling to survive, there's a lot of panic. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of fears, regrets. All of their regrets go flashing up, and all the things that they wanted to do and stuff. They're pleading with God, they're pleading with nature and stuff to help them. And unfortunately, on some of these cases, there's no one there to help them. Okay, and that's a sad thing, and that's a really sad thing about being able to um, be with a person on their last moments in this world, and which is one reason why I don't like doing it. Okay, so as we progress throughout the day, the longer the people don't find this little girl and stuff, it's natural for everyone to think the worst. And I'm just praying that um, you know we're wrong. Okay. And I'm just hoping that it doesn't turn into another disappearing child. Um, some people are talking about Peter Kemma. Unfortunately, uh, this is has a lot of similarities to it. Okay, so keep your hopes up, and I'm praying for the family, and I'm praying for this little girl to be found, and I pray that she's well. Okay, and until next week, this is Dave Wallace from Waihoa, Hawaii, saying aloha. And tomorrow's my daughter's birthday. Happy birthday, Gigi. I love you. Okay, bye bye.